Hello, everybody. My name is Brianna, aka Whitley Gilbert on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. And I am part of the Lulu Hive proud member and Theory Hive, where we break down Beyonce's art and kind of dissect it to maybe guess what she's going to do next. Spoiler alert, we never guess, but we keep trying anyway. Mother's Mind is fascinating, to say the least. And right now, this is just something that I'm interested in and want to dive into more. I just love how the Hive dives into Beyonce's art because we know she's going to give us something good. So, without further ado, this is my Hamlet theory. So, Hamlet, let me just give you a quick synopsis of that before I start my theory. So, essentially, in Act 1, it starts with the ghost visiting two guards. And they're freaking out. They're like, oh my gosh, this looks oddly like the king. Hamlet's father. Who recently died. So they basically go tell Hamlet this, and Hamlet sees for himself and sees the ghost. Now the ghost tells Hamlet that he was not killed by regular circumstances. He was actually killed by his brother, the now king, and Hamlet's uncle, who marries Hamlet's mother. It's a whole thing. So the ghost basically tells him, yeah, no, I did not die regularly. It was your uncle who killed me. So this kind of throws Hamlet. That's essentially what Act 1 is. Act 2, Hamlet basically pretends to be mad because he sees how, where they're at is called Denmark. He sees how corrupt Denmark is. He tells the guards who was there with him, who seen the ghost, that no matter what, basically, remember, this is just me pretending to be mad. I'm not really mad. And they're like, yeah, cool, whatever. Nobody believes him. They think he's crazy. And I'm just going to go from Act 1 to Act 3. There's 5 acts. I'm just going to go from Act 1 to Act 3. Follow me. Act 3, he sets up a scene called the Mousetrap. And it's essentially a play within a play. So basically, Hamlet stages a play to catch the conscience of the king. So he wants to see if his uncle really did kill his father, like the ghost he seen suggested, or maybe they were all just seeing things. Maybe he was actually crazy. So he sets up this play, and basically the king, his uncle, reacts oddly, and it basically confirms to Hamlet that his uncle killed his father and the ghost was real. So how does that tie into Beyonce, Renaissance, Cowboy Carter, and possibly Act 3? Well, let's start with Renaissance. Have some imagery here. Hold on. So, how does all of this connect to Renaissance, Cowboy Carter, and possibly Act 3? On the Beyonce vinyl, as you can see, she is on top of a silver horse. We all know Renaissance, aka Renee. So, if you can see right here, it's red curtains. So, this is suggesting we are possibly entering into a scene, an act, a play. The silver horse could essentially symbolize the ghost that, like I was telling you before, Hamlet saw, which was his father. Follow me. So, the horse possibly symbolize a ghost-like presence. If you remember the Renaissance era, something that I found odd was everything we got that was from the track list for Renaissance to the 4 boxes, the box sets, to vinyls and different things like that. If you remember, there was a silver reflective image, oddly specific to Renaissance, also to a ghost-like image. Might seem like a stretch, but there is oddly different things suggesting that. So, how does this coincide with, again, Act 1? I think, and if you guys haven't seen, go check out Lore Breakers. They have a video on this, and I was excited to know that I was not the only one catching kind of Hamlet theories connections. So, if that's the case, Act 2, again, Hamlet he pretends to be mad, but he's basically exposing. Act 2, he essentially seems like he is going to be mad, but he's exposing a lot of what is going on in Denmark, which is not good. Some crazy things happening. So if that's the case, that oddly reflects, just like the ghost image or ghost imagery reflects Renaissance, the theme of madness correlating to a hidden truth oddly lines up with Cowboy Carter. And let me remind you, Renaissance, before we knew what Renaissance was, just like how we're thinking of Act 3 now, it was Act 1. Before we knew what Cowboy Carter was, it was Act 2. So that does suggest heavily that the theme is a play. Now, in Act 3, there is, again, a play within a play. So what I'm suggesting is, with these connections, and I'll dive more into them in a minute, is it possible that the next stage, because in this theory, the mousetrap, there's a live audience that sees the king get essentially exposed. What if we are the live audience? What if when she said, "You are the visuals," we really are the visuals? No, don't panic. The visuals just still might be coming, you guys. Let's not give up hope. Do not panic. But for that to happen, Beyoncé would have to put her fans inside this theme of a play. So we are the live audience reacting to everything. But the kicker is, the audience does not know they're in a live play until Act 3, Scene 2. So that's why she probably specifically chose Hamlet, because this is the only play that can essentially this can happen. And I thought that was very interesting that this could possibly be happening. So if that is the case, this explains why we don't have visuals. This explains why the Ben Country website, this explains so many other things, like her taking the Beyonce Bowl off of YouTube and Netflix. There seems like a madness there. There seems like, one of the quotes that I like to quote, and which came to this theory, is, "There's a method to my madness." And this is a direct quote from Hamlet. Now, the quote actually says, "Although there may be madness to it, there's method in it." Something like that. I'm paraphrasing. But it's essentially meaning, in her madness, there is a method to it. So her not giving us visuals, her taking Beyonce Bowl off of Netflix and YouTube, and all of that discourse that happened. What if she's setting us up? That was our first hint to say, hey guys, you're in the play. You are the live audience. And essentially, what Cowboy Carter did do is catch a lot of the conscience of the king, the nation, the America that we live in today. Whether that be through seeing how widespread AI is on the internet, which she speaks about in the art book, seeing how they called her propagandist for simply telling her Southern roots. And all the things that surrounded this album, including Renaissance. So I'm very intrigued what Act 3 may be. And I'm thinking it may be rock. But out of this Hamlet theory, I have created 3 possible scenarios. But before I get to that, let me show you something interesting. Now, this may not be nothing, and I'm going to have to do like a picture up close so y'all can see it, because you will not be able to see it with just me putting it on camera. I'm going to have to show the imagery. Here it is. This page right here. This is a very interesting hint to what we just might get for the next act and how it correlates to my Hamlet theory. Now, in this page, it has Black Betty, 3 underlines. It also has Never Knows Best, 3 underlines. It has things like I'm in your memory. It has her hiding the quote, but I can read pretty well and read between the lines. Goodbye to what has been. And she also has an imagery of a crown with 3 crosses. That's very important. And I'm thinking she also, it looks like imagery that says band behind her. So from my Hamlet theory, I feel like it could be there. If my Hamlet theory is correct, and again, I need to see Act 3. This is just a beginner stage theory. It is not meant to say this is what's going on. Just my mind. This is not a theory to say this is real. This is just how I like to dive in Beyonce's art. And if it's not, it's not. If it is, it is. It's not a big deal. But if it is real, if the Hamlet theory has just a little bit to it, Act 3, Scene 2 is when we're going to find out we are in the play. And we're going to get essentially the mousetrap scene. But before that, Act 3, Scene 1 is the infamous line where it's quoted to be or not to be. I think Beyonce might hint at that at the Met Gala. Not a moment sooner. I think the Met Gala is going to tell us a lot of what, I mean, we all know this, but I think the Met Gala is the beginning of Act 3. And if I see a split look, I'm talking very contrast, like very darker tones or lighter tones, and it's like a split look to suggest to be or not to be, I'm gonna lose my mind. But after that, it could possibly be, and a part of my theory, I have 3 from my Hamlet theory, I have 3 ideas of what Act 3 could happen. I'm gonna go from the most Delulu to what I can guess with the information that I have now, if that makes sense. So, of course, I'm gonna go with the most Delulu first. Why not? So, the most Delulu would be Met Gala. She introduces a look that has a theme of to be or not to be, split look, whatever have you. And that would be essentially Act 3, Scene 1. Act 3, Scene 2 would be the play within a play, would be the mousetrap. Either that will be announced through the FIFA World Cup. There's a halftime show going on, guys. We could essentially get a live performance from Beyoncé to enter into this next Act 3 era. I know y'all are panicking seeing Jay-Z is out. I ain't worried nothing about that. I'm staying focused on Beyonce. Beyonce, I'm staying focused on you. I ain't getting distracted. But yeah, so a live album could happen, which essentially I think it might sound like a television show. Renaissance, it was a ballroom theme. When you hear Renaissance, you hear ballroom. Cowboy Carter, radio theme. You hear the interludes has an interchanging of radio. Act 3, rock, live. It feels like a live experience, but maybe it's flipping through television. Maybe it's flipping through television. That could be also a theme. So that's my most Delulu take, is we get rock live performance at the FIFA World Cup. We're get introduced through a live experience. Because of course, a play within a play. We would be the live audience that finally realizes we've been in a live play this whole time. Let's see. Other Delulu theory. My other theory, which is medium Delulu, which my other theory is, this is my second theory, is we are getting still a rock album, but it will essentially not be at the FIFA World Cup. We'll just get it in like a May 29th announcement, something like that. It won't be through live, but the theme is still a little bit there. The theme is still there. Kind of catching the conscience of the king, realizing that we are in the play all along. That's a little bit of that. And then my last theory that I can best guess with the information I have now, I'm guessing we're probably in Act 2, Scene 2, so it's right before Act 3, Scene 1. There's only two scenes in Act 2 in Hamlet. With the limited knowledge I have and possible connection to Hamlet, I suggest that maybe Act 3 might not be rock. Now I know. Beyonce, you're driving me crazy, but I love it. Now, if Act 3 is not rock, I'm suggesting it might be a Renaissance live album. Do not get your hopes up, guys. Please do not let me get your Delulu Hive hopes up. This is only based on the knowledge of, if there's no, like, just what I have now of, will she get a new act or not? Will she do rock or not? Essentially, I don't know. But the live album could also fit in with a scene with the Renaissance live album could also fit into the narrative of a play within a play. It might fit just slightly better. Slightly. Let's not go too crazy. I still want the most Delulu experience of the rock era and gagging at the FIFA World Cup. But I could also essentially see a live Renaissance album and then her putting the Renaissance film on streaming. That could also be probably come with like features to kind of not explain fully, but to suggest like, yeah, you've been living in this play all along. So that is my theory. There's a lot of more meat and potatoes in that too. Like I said, go check out Lore Breaker's video. They broke it down excellently. They also suggested something that I never thought of, is that the visuals would coincide with the messaging of Hamlet, which would be, the visuals would be Hamlet, which would make even more sense if the visuals are the play within a play, and we are the live audience, and the visuals are the play within a play. We are the live audience watching this play go down without realizing we are in fact the live audience in a play. And I think that level of storytelling would be genius. And even if not, Beyonce's gonna find a way. Like, she's genius all on her own. So she does not need my delulu theories to add to that. But I just love guessing and seeing what possibly could be next, because we're waiting and I don't want to drive myself crazy. There has to be a reason. There has to be a method to your madness, Beyonce. But the things that I'm going to look out for is Hamlet. I told y'all I would come back to this. In Hamlet, the infamous skull is Yorick's skull. There's a whole backstory behind this. Yorick is a childhood friend, basically, of Hamlet, and he essentially sees his skull, and it makes him question life and all these things. But this is a huge symbol throughout pop culture. This skull has any Hamlet theory, any Hamlet play, recreation, anything like that, you're gonna see this skull as a huge representation. A interesting connection is there is a skull in the dashboard of the Del Resto video that Beyonce did with Travis Scott. Could be a connection there. Again, Lord Breakers broke this down excellently. So that is my theory. And now, if that is the case, and essentially these projects go beyond Hamlet, right? I think if this is the case, if it's a Hamlet style storytelling of these acts, I think Beyonce is taking art, fashion, media, let's see, literature, and genres, and putting blackness and black culture at the center of it. So she's taken things like Shakespeare and Hamlet, recreating that. We see that with imagery where she's with Abraham Lincoln. We see that with imagery. So that's history, that's literature, media, as far as the country radio station KNTRY, and possibly if there's a TV station she plays with in Act 3, we could see it through that source of media. Also, genre bending, where R&B how she has said R&B and rap has been genres to pigeonhole black artists in, when we have Tina Turner who was rock and all different types of genres, but she was pigeonholed to just one section of genre for a black artist. So she essentially is, with these pieces, um is taking back ownership and reclaiming what already belongs to her and what already belongs to us. So I am so excited to dive into Act 3 and see what she has from here on. Yes, I'm really excited. I hope my Hamlet theory is accurate, because I think that will be genius to, as a fan, say, yeah, you are the visuals, you are the live audience, and you're in the play, you're part of the play. And seeing how that comes about. Is there a movie coming? Is there another, is the next thing another album, a live performance? We shall see. Only Beyonce knows. And I do think she loves us, like, not scrambling, but I think she loves us diving into it. And that's the whole point of these acts, to dive into them, because visuals, I'm sorry, Hive. I'm one of those Beyonce can do no wrong, but I'm also one of those. Yes, I love that she did not give us visuals. And if y'all are honest with yourselves, if you're really honest with yourselves, especially some of y'all, Beyonce, look away. This is Beehive's business. Go away. Log off. Okay, Beehive, now let's talk. let's be very, very honest here. You know good and well if Beyonce would have gave us visuals and gave us all this stuff, y'all would have got bored with it by now. Y'all would have been on the next thing. Yeah. Okay. So let's not pretend like if y'all got visuals, y'all would be satisfied. Y'all would be still complaining about something else. Oh, she's not doing enough promo. Oh, she's not doing this. She's not doing that. But y'all would have still had visuals. Y'all would have known that if she gave us visuals off the bat and we didn't know about not having visuals, y'all would have got bored with it. Not because the music isn't good, not because the music isn't iconic, but because some of the attention span, what she has spoke on, is very limited. People don't read anymore. Okay. So, if essentially my Hamlet theory is correct, though, and she's kind of gearing it towards the acts as well, loosely based, okay? Not everything is Hamlet, 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 right? Loosely based. I think we could possibly get a live rock album, or a live Renaissance album. And that's my theory right now. That is my Hamlet theory. That is my breakdown for today. Yes. And just essentially to break down even more in the Renaissance being the ghost image and Hamlet being the kind of madness, aka the like there's something rotten in the state of Denmark, like him finding hidden truths and exposing that truths, the underlying themes of those kind of aligning with Hamlet. It's like just slightly loosely inspired by it. But I think it would be iconic if Beyonce did that. And I'm going to be, like I said, looking out for the Met Gala. That is my thing. I know y'all worried about May 29th. I'm just focused on the Met Gala right now. What is she gonna, because her being a co-chair after how many years? Like what? 10 or some years from not going to Met Gala? And now you're a co-chair? Yeah, I'm gonna need to see that look and see if it has any resemblance or anything to do with my Hamlet theory. That is my theory, and we are out the Lulu Hive. Peace.